Hey, hello guys, welcome to the another lecture series on electric charges and electric field. In this video we will continue our discussion from question number 1.8. In the last video we started our discussion on the exercise questions. We completed up till 1.7, so we will do the continuation of that. So question number 1.8. So the question number 1.8 says that 2 point charges QA and QB, they are equal in magnitude and opposite in sign. You can see that QA is 3 microcoulomb and QB is minus 3 microcoulomb, are located 20 centimeter apart in vacuum. So these two charges are placed in vacuum. At what distance apart? 20 centimeter apart. What is the electric field at the midpoint O of the line joining of the line AB joining the two charges? Okay. So now let us draw the diagram and understand what they have given. Very simple. You have given two charges QA and QB, okay, and the separation between them is 20 centimeter, it seems. Okay, so the separation between them is 20 centimeter. And what are the magnitude of the charges? One of the charges 3 microcoulomb and the other charge is minus 3 microcoulomb. So now this is kind of electric dipole, but here it is 20 centimeter. The distance between these two charges is 20 centimeter. That is much greater. So therefore generally we don't call this as a dipole, because for for the condition for a dipole is these two charges must be separated by a very small distance. Okay, maybe 1 millimeter, okay, or lesser than centimeters. So it shouldn't be in centimeters. So it's this, we cannot call it as a dipole. But nevertheless they are asking us to find out what is the electrical field at the center. Okay, the question is to find out electrical field at the center. Now let me take this point here. This point is the center of these two charges, line joining these two charges. So at this point at the center, the electrical field due to this positive charge will be to the right, okay, radially outwards from it. Okay, and the electrical field at the same point due to the negative charge is also towards right, because negative charge means the electrical field due to negative charge will be radially inwards. So electrical field due to negative charge will also be in the same direction. If I say E1 is the electrical field due to positive charge, E2 is the electrical field due to negative charge, and you will see that both will be equal. E1 and E2 both will be equal. I'll show you that also. Since both the electrical fields are equal and they are in the same direction, they will add up. See, that's what is going to be your net electrical field. So E1 is going to be K into 3 micro, right? Micro is 10 power minus 6. Okay, 3 microcoulomb, and divided by the distance from the center to this charge, distance from the center to this charge is 10 centimeters. So 10 into 10 power minus 2 the whole square, because the distance square is the formula for electric field. So that is kq by d square, or kq by r square is the formula for electric field. Okay, so I'm using this formula. We have derived this formula in the theory part. If you haven't watched that, please watch that so that you get to know what is the formula for electric field due to a point charge. Okay, so now the distance is 10 centimeter, 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2 the whole square. So that is the electrical field due to this positive charge. And the electrical field due to negative charge is all the same thing, K into the negative charge. The magnitude of the charge is what I'm considering. Again, I won't be substituting any of these negative signs in this formulas, because the negative sign will just help us to understand whether the electrical field is going to be radially inwards or radially outwards. So the sign will help us to understand that. Okay, here since it's a negative charge, the electrical field due to negative charge will be radially inwards. That is E2 will be towards minus 3 microcoulomb. Okay, so that is K into 3 into 10 to the power of minus 6 divided by 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2 the whole square. Okay, again, because the distance from the center to this minus 3 microcoulomb is 10 centimeter. Okay, so now you see both E1 and E2 are same, and they're in the same direction. Therefore the net electrical field is just E1 plus E2, which is 2 times K into 3 into 10 to the power of minus 6 whole divided by 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2 the whole square. Okay, as simple as that. So when you simplify this, you get it as 2 into K is what, 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Okay, and this is 3 into 10 to the power of minus 6 whole divided by, in the denominator 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2 is 10 power minus 1. 10 power minus 1 the whole square will be 10 power minus 2. Okay, so in the denominator we'll get it as 10 power minus 2. That 10 power minus 2 will get cancelled with this, so you will get it as 10 power minus 4 here. Okay, that 10 power minus 4 will get cancelled with 10 power 9. So 10 power 9 into 10 to the power of minus 4 will be 10 power 5. 10 power 9 minus 4, which is 10 power 5. So I'll write it as 10 power 5 here. Okay, and then you have 3 2 into 9 into 3, so 3 into 2 is 6, 6 nines are 54, so 54 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per Coulomb is the unit of electric field. So the net electrical field at the center is 54 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per Coulomb. So that is your answer. Okay. All right. Fine. So what is the next part of the question? The next part of the question is, if a negative test charge of magnitude 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 9 Coulomb is placed at this point, what is the force experienced by the test charge? Now, if you remember, I used to say in the theory class that if you keep a charge Q in a region of electrical field E, then the charge Q will experience a force of E into Q. Okay? If you keep a charge Q in a region of electrical field E, the charge Q will experience a force of E into Q. If it is a positive charge, it will experience a force in the direction of electric field, and if it is a negative charge, it will experience a force in the opposite direction of electrical field. Okay? So now the sub question B is, they're asking how much will be the force when you keep a charge Q. How much is the charge? You are keeping 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 9 Coulomb is placed at the center, it seems. So then I know that force is going to be E into Q. Okay, we just found out E. How much is the E at the center? It is 54 into 10 to the power of 5. And how much is the charge? It is 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 9. Okay, so when you simplify this, you get 81 into 10 to the power of 1.5 into 54 is 81, and this 10 power 5 into 10 to the power of minus 9 will become 10 power minus 4 Newton. So that is the force experienced by this charge Q when you keep that charge Q at the center, okay, where the electrical field is 54 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per Coulomb. Okay, and what will be the direction of this force? The direction of the force will be along AB, okay, along the line joining AB. All right, so now we'll move on to the next question, the question number 1.9. Okay, so the question number 1.9 says, a system has two charges QA and QB located at the point A. The coordinate of the point is 0, 0, minus 15 centimeter, and the point B, coordinate of point B is 0, 0, plus 15 centimeter respectively. What are the total charge and electric dipole moment of the system? So now let us draw the coordinate systems first. Okay. So that is my X and Y axis, and this is my Z axis. So this is my X axis, that is my Y axis, and this is my Z axis. Now if I extend it backwards, that is my negative Z direction. Okay, that is my negative Z, minus Z. Alright, now where are the charges kept? If you look at the locations, point A is on 0, 0, minus 15. So that is Z coordinate is negative, X is 0 is, this X, the 0 gives you X coordinate, the second 0 gives you Y coordinate, and the third minus 15 centimeter gives you the Z coordinate. Z is minus 15, it seems. So minus 15 means somewhere here. Okay, so that is 0, 0, minus 15. Okay, all right, and there what are you having? You are having a charge QA. Okay, you are having a charge QA, and how much is that? It is 2.5 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Coulomb. All right, and now the charge B is at the coordinate 0, 0, 15 centimeter. That is along positive Z axis. So here it's going to be 0, 0, 15 centimeter. Okay, and the charge QB is also 2.5 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulombs. All right, now they're asking what is the dipole moment. Okay, so generally for electric dipole, to be defined, we don't take the distance between two charges to be very high, but in the question they have given it as 15 centimeters from the center to the right, and to the left 15 centimeter. So overall distance is 30 centimeter, which is very high, but still they're asking us to find out dipole moment. We will do it. Okay, but generally the distance will not be so high. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so now they're asking us to find out how much is the dipole moment, and dipole moment is nothing but q into 2a. So 2a is what? Distance between two charges. So here 2a is how much? 30 centimeter. Many of you will make a mistake that you will take a as 30 centimeter. No, a is half of the distance between two charges, which is 15 centimeter. From the center to this point it is 15 centimeter. Again from the center to this point it is again 15 centimeter. So overall distance between two charges is 2a, which is 30 centimeter. Okay, and the magnitude of any one of the charge, which is 2.5 into 10 to the power of minus 7 multiplied by the distance between them, which is 30 centimeter. Centi is 10 power minus 2. Okay, so centimeter I've written it as 10 power minus 2 meters. Okay, so now if you simplify this, it is 2.5 into 30. First we will do, so that will become 25 into 3, that is 75. 75 into, now we'll take care of this 10 powers. 10 power minus 7 into 10 to the power of minus 2 is 10 power minus 7 minus 2, which is 10 power minus 9. The unit is going to be coulomb meter. The unit is going to be coulomb meter. It is not centimeter, it is coulomb meter. Okay, be careful. So that is your total dipole moment. Okay, and what else they're asking? What are the total charge and the electric dipole moment? So we have found the electric dipole moment, and the total charge is what? 0, right? Because two equal and opposite charges, right? Total charge of the system is nothing but qa plus qb, the net charge. So net charge is going to be 0. Qa is positive and qb is negative charge. Okay, when you add both of them, the net charge is going to be 0. So always remember, in an electric dipole, whenever you have electric dipole, the net charge is always going to be 0, because it's two equal and opposite charges. Alright, so now we'll move to the next question, question number 1.10. Question number 1.10. It says that an electric dipole with a dipole moment 4 into 10 to the power of minus 9 coulomb meter is aligned at 30 degree with the direction of uniform electrical field of magnitude 5 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per coulomb. Calculate the magnitude of the torque acting on it. Okay, alright. So we already know the formula for torque is P vector cross E vector. Okay, we have derived the formula P vector cross E vector in the theory part. If you haven't watched that, I will also leave the link in the description. Kindly watch those videos so that you will have a proper idea of what exactly is happening here. Okay, so P vector cross E vector is the formula, which is PE sin theta. Okay, PE sin theta, where theta is the angle between dipole moment and electric field. Alright, so now what are the given things? They have given P. How much is the dipole moment? It seems it is 4 into 10 to the power of minus 9 coulomb meter. And how much is the electrical field? Electrical field is given as 5 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per meter. Newton per coulomb. 5 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per coulomb. And what is the angle? Angle is aligned at 30 degree with the direction of uniform electric field. So that's 30 degree. So now substitute. Therefore the torque will become 4 into 10 to the power of minus 9. That is torque. That is dipole moment. And the electrical field is 5 into 10 to the power of 4 into sine of 30. Okay, now sine 30 is 1 by 2. That 1 by 2 into 4 is going to be just 2. 2 into 5 is 10. So 10 into 10 to the power of minus 9 into 10 to the power of minus 9 into 10 to the power of 4 is going to be 10 to the power of minus 5. So basically you are getting it as 10 power minus 4 Newton meter. Okay, unit of torque is Newton meter. Alright, fine. So now we will move on to the next question, which is 10.11. Okay, 10.11. The question number 10.11 says that a polythene piece rubbed with wool is found to have a negative charge of 3 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulomb, it seems. So the net charge is how much? 3 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulomb, it seems. Estimate the number of electrons transferred. Okay, from where to where it is transferred is what they're saying. So you have a polythene piece rubbed with a wool is found to have a negative charge. The polythene piece rubbed with a wool is found to have a negative charge. So that means polythene piece has gained electron, because polythene piece rubbed with a wool is found to have a negative charge, it seems. That means polythene piece is having a negative charge. Since polythene piece is having a negative charge, so that means the net charge must be minus 3 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulomb. Okay, because the polythene piece is having a negative charge, so I've just written it as minus 3 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulomb. Okay, since polythene piece has negative charge, this implies the electrons have got transferred from where to where? From wool. Okay, from wool to the polythene. All right, and now the question is, estimate the number of electrons transferred. Okay, how many number of electrons are transferred? Now I've already told that the charge is always quantized, so the net charge can always be written as the integral multiple of the basic charge, that is charge of electron. How much is the net charge? Minus 3 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulomb must be equal to, I don't know how many number of electrons are being added to it, I'll write it as n. And what is the charge of each electron? Minus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. Okay, so now you will get value of n as minus will get cancelled on both the side. It is just 3 into 10 to the power of minus 7 whole divided by 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. Okay, so now if you simplify this is 3 divided by 1.6 into 10 to the power of, this minus 19 will go to the numerator, it will become plus 19. So 10 to the power of plus 19 into 10 to the power of minus 7 is going to be 10 to the power of 19 minus 7, that is going to be 12, 10 to the power of 12. Okay, so now we need to find out how much is this 3 divided by 1.6. so when you simplify that, you will get that as 1.87 into 10 to the power of 12 electrons. So these many number of electrons have got transferred from wool to the polythene. Okay, and the next part of the question is there transfer of mass from wool to the polythene? Yes, because electrons possess mass, and how many number of electrons have gotten transferred? So these many number of electrons have got transferred from wool to the polythene. Obviously they all have a mass. The mass is negligible though. Okay, very negligible. How much is the mass of the electron? It's 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. So which is very negligible. Okay, so though it is negligible, still there is some certain amount of mass that is getting transferred. Yes, so the answer for sub question B is yes. Since electrons have mass negligible though, I'll just write it in bracket, negligible, there is transfer of mass from wool to polythene. Okay, so how much will be the mass? You can even calculate that. So the mass that will get transferred is the number of electrons into mass of each electron. So when you multiply that, the number of electrons transferred with the mass of each electron, you will get the total mass that got transferred from the wool to the polythene. Okay, that you can do. Now we'll move on to the next question, which is question number 1.12, the 12th question. Okay, so the 12th question says, two insulated charged copper spheres A and B have their centers separated by a distance of 50 centimeter. What is the mutual force of electrostatic repulsion if the charge on each is 6.5 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulomb? The radii of A and B is negligible compared to the distance of separation. So it's like, though it is a sphere carrying a charge, okay, this is first sphere carrying a charge of 6.5 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulomb. There is second sphere here carrying a charge of 6.5 into 10 to the power of minus 7 coulomb, and these two are separated by what distance? 30 centimeter, it seems, correct? These two are separated by 50 centimeter. I'm sorry, it is 50 centimeter. Okay, so these two are separated by 50 centimeter. Now they carry like charges, they are going to repel each other. Okay, so they are going to repel each other. And how much is that repulsive force is what we have to find out. Simple, we know the formula, it is kq1 q2 divided by distance square, correct? So in this case, q1 q2 both are equal and the distance is 50 centimeter. Just substitute. So it's going to be 9 into 10 to the power of 9 into q1 q2 both are equal, so therefore I'm going to write as 6.5 into 10 to the power of minus 7 the whole square, because q1 and q2 both are equal, right? So divided by the distance 50 into 10 to the power of minus 2, it's 50 centimeter, right? I'm converting that into meter, the whole square. Okay, so now if you simplify this, we will get it as 1.52 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton. Okay, so though it is a sphere carrying a charge, it will still behave as if the entire charge present on the sphere is concentrated at the center, just like a point charge. Okay, while deriving the expression for electrical field outside a sphere carrying a charge, also you can see that we have got the same expression for electrical field due to a point charge, which is kq by distance square. Okay, all right, so now the next question is, sub-question B is, what is the force of repulsion if each sphere is charged double the above amount and the distance between them is halved? Okay, so the sub-question B is, if the distance between the charge is halved, okay, this distance is halved, let us say this distance is d initially and this charge is q. Okay, so now both the charges are doubled and the distance is halved. So then what will happen? This charge is becoming 2q and this charge is also becoming 2q, and the distance between them become d by 2. Now the new repulsive force, I'll write it as f dash. Okay, we want to find out how much it is. So I can write f dash as k into 2q into 2q, which is 2q the whole square, divided by the distance between them has become d by 2, so d by 2 the whole square. Similar problem I guess we have done again while discussing the theory. Okay, so therefore this becomes what? K q square into 2 2s are 4 divided by, in the denominator, d square divided by 4. This 4 will go to the numerator. Okay, it will become 16 kq square by d square, and this 16 into this kq square by d square is nothing but the initial force when these two charges are q and they were separated by distance d. That time the force was kq square by d square, this only. Okay, kq square by d square, that is this force f. So that means the new force f dash becomes 16 times the initial force, as simple as that. Okay, the new force f dash becomes 16 times initial force. So 16 times initial force was how much? 1.52 into 10 to the power of minus 2. Okay, so 1.52 into 10 to the power of minus 2. Okay, so now if you simplify this, you would get it as 0.243 Newton. So that is going to be our new force. Okay, so now we'll move on to 13th question, question number 13. So it says that, suppose a sphere A and a sphere B in exercise 1.12, that is in the previous question, whatever spheres that A and B we have taken have identical sizes. A third sphere of the same charge, third sphere of same size but uncharged, is brought in contact with the first and then brought in contact with the second charge, second sphere, and finally removed from both. What is the new force of repulsion between A and B? Okay, all right. So it is like, I have this first sphere here which was initially having a charge of q, and the second sphere was also having an initial charge of q. Okay, now I have an uncharged sphere. There is uncharged sphere, the distance between these two is d, which is 50 centimeter. We'll keep all those things as it is. We will do a general thing, like I'm not giving any values to q, d. I'm just explaining the concept, and then we will substitute the values for q and d. Okay, now I have this sphere A and this is sphere B. Okay, sphere A and sphere B. both are having initially the same amount of charge q and they're separated by distance d. Now I'll bring a uncharged sphere, okay, which is also identical. Identical means what? Exactly similar to this, okay, same radius. So now when I touch this uncharged sphere to this charge q will get equally distributed. This charge q will get equally distributed between these two. So when you touch it, okay, when you touch this, what will happen? This charge q will become equally distributed. It will become q by 2 here and q by 2 here. Charge will get equally distributed. Now you are taking this sphere, okay. Initially it was not charged. Now it has got a charge of q by 2. Now I'll take that and I'm going to touch that with the second sphere, okay. Now I'm going to touch this with this second sphere. So when I touch that, then what will happen? The total charge q and q by 2 will get equally distributed between both of them, okay. Now the total charges q plus q by 2, okay, which is 3q by 2. So that is the total charge. This total charge present, combined charge in both B and this sphere is 3q by 2, and that will now get equally distributed. So equally getting distributed means what? Half of this total charge will be present in this B and will be present on this sphere, okay. So therefore half of that is going to be how much? 3q divided by 2, whole divided by 2 is going to be 3q by 4. So therefore the charge that is going to be present on this is going to be 3q by 4, and here it will be 3q by 4, okay. And now you just remove it as it is. So if you remove, nothing will happen to the charge that is present on B. That will still remain as 3q by 4. So you have removed it. Now after this process, how much is the force between these two spheres A and B is the question, okay. Now also they will repel each other, okay, because both of them carry like charges. They may not be equal in magnitude, but they are like charges. Both are positive, they will repel each other. Now you need to find out how much is that new force. So the new force is going to be k into q by 2 into 3q by 4 whole divided by d square, okay. And now what can I write this as? Can I write this as 3 divided by 4 into 2 is 8 into kq square divided by d square? Can I write like that? Okay. So what did I do? I just multiplied 4 into 2, and this 3 divided by 8 I took it out. Then remaining thing is k into q square divided by d square. Now I already know the value of kq square by d square from the previous question. How much is that? Kq square by d square is you can see that 1.52 into 10 to the power of minus 2. We already know that, okay. We calculated that here, 1.52 into 10 to the power of minus 2. I'll substitute the same thing here. I don't have to do the same calculation again. So anyway I know the value, I'll do that. 1.52 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton, okay. Alright, so now when you simplify this, you will get 0.57 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton, okay. So that's going to be our answer. You can write this as 5.7 into 10 to the power of minus 3 Newton, okay. Generally in the scientific notation, first we'll be writing an integer, then the decimal point will be placed after the first integer digit, okay. So that's the reason we generally write it like this. You can leave the answer as 0.57 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton also, not a problem, but generally in the scientific notation we'll be putting a decimal after a first digit. So our force is going to be 5.7 into 10 to the power of minus 3 Newton, okay. So that's the answer for the 13th question. So now we'll move to question number 14. Question number 14 here, 1.14. So this question says they have given two plates, okay. One is positively charged plate, the other one is a negatively charged plate, and they're passing three charged particles, and they're also saying that which particle, they're asking us to find out which particle has highest charge to mass ratio. See, when you do this, okay, when you pass these charges between these two plates, which charge will get deflected towards positively charged plate? negative charge. So here charge 1 and charge 2 is getting deflected towards positive charge plate. That means the charge 1 and 2 should be negative charge, okay, and the charge 3 is getting deflected towards the negative charge plate. That means the charge 3 should be positive charge plate. As simple as that, because the negative charge will get attracted towards the positively charged plate, and the positive charge will get attracted towards negatively charged plate. As simple as that. Okay, so now if you draw this diagram, you can see that I have, now there is a uniform electrical field from positively charged plate to the negatively charged plate. So in between these two plates there's going to be electrical field, and now I'm projecting three particles. So these three particles are going like that. Okay, so this is how they are going. All right, so now they are asking us to find out which particle has greater charge to mass ratio. See, let us say the charge is Q here and the electrical field is E here. Okay, electrical field is E. So how much will be the force that the charged particle will experience? E into Q. If a charge Q is placed in a region of electrical field E, then it will experience a force of E into Q. Now this force can be written as what? Mass into acceleration is equals to EQ. Therefore A is going to be E into charge divided by mass. So I'll take this mass to RHS. Okay. Now whichever particle has greater charge divided by mass value, charge by mass ratio value, that will have greater acceleration. So greater acceleration means what? That will deviate maximum, that experience greater force, therefore they will deviate maximum. Okay. Now if you look at all the three charges, this is my first charge, okay, this is my second charge, and this is my third charge. Look at all of them, which is getting deviated maximum? Third charge. Okay, you see here the distance between these two paths are almost the same, they're parallel, almost parallel, but this is, you know, deviating maximum. So that means the third charge is experiencing greater force, because that's why it is deviating maximum. So if it is experiencing greater force, means it is experiencing greater acceleration, it means Q by M should be greater for it. Are you getting the point? So this is how you're going to analyze it. Okay, so obviously I should write, since third charge is deviating maximum, therefore its Q by M value is high. Okay, that's the answer. You just have to analyze the path. Okay, looking at the path, we will have to come to the conclusion using this formula. Okay, all right, so that's all for this video. So we will continue discussing rest of the questions in the upcoming videos, and till then stay tuned, have a happy learning. Thank you all, bye bye.